Ohayo gozaimasu. Come up. It looks like I got the camera a little bit crooked. Sorry. Oh my God. I got to get out there and fix it. Sorry about that. Look at that. Our rocket lander is a little crooked this morning. My apologies. When I was setting it up, I guess I didn't have my glasses in my pocket. I can't see it. How compulsive are we? Shall I go and fix it? No, it's okay, I think. Don Quixote's falling over. Maybe it's all, there was an earthquake in Tokyo last night, perhaps. I didn't notice. Someone says, when did I retire the cone? I'm not sure what you mean. Cones across the street, they're still there. The lady in the bag shop has 2 cones across the street. We have 2 cones on our side of the street. They're not visible in this view. People coming from Don Quixote with their souvenir bags. The green garbage truck from the Korean restaurant. 7 days a week. 7 days a week. When you've got a good one going, you ride that tiger. What's Karen say? Put my prints in the drawing board. Send him over. We're waiting. Send him over. Okay, we're back at the carving bench still. This might be the last one. I'm not quite sure. I did the sizing last night. Last night for the next print in the Dreams of Future Past series, the print number 7. Me and Ayumi-san will be splitting the second batch of it. And the first, it's too bad you weren't able to see this. You will in the future. I know. It's the new big paper from Murata-san. It's a little thicker than her previous batch. The top surface is much, much smoother. The paper is more solid. I'm a little nervous about how it's going to print. I think when her previous batch came and we were talking about the paper, I think we talked about this on stream, that Iwano-san's paper was more masculine and her paper was more feminine. I said this as a description, not as any kind of an insult or anything, but I think she took that to heart a little more than I had intended. And the current batch of paper is, it might be more difficult to print. It might be tougher paper, but it might be more difficult. The sizing went on beautifully. So we'll be seeing lots more sizing on that paper, don't worry. Anyway, the sizing is done. We're just waiting for the blocks. They're coming in this weekend, I believe. So Monday's stream could be a printing stream, or it could be still back on these blocks. I don't know. Okay, let's get rid of our New York newspaper. It being Saturday morning here, we have the newspaper for Sunday, July the 6th. From New York, live from, not live, from Soka. This is also waiting to be done. Ayumi-san, this is the very last batch of prints from DF6. DF6, she's got them into groups. She has a few with paper issues, the OK group. But these haven't had the hunko put in. Should I do that now on stream or should I carve? Let's carve. Let's do real work. That's the last batch of number 6. Number 7, the first 200 copies are being printed by Chiharu-san in Nagano, and me and Ayumi-san will be taking over once the blocks come back. Did Chiharu-san use the new version of the paper? No. What Chiharu-san has been using was the last of the previous batch. It's now all gone. It's not all gone. I think there's 24 sheets or so left. We will not be using it. Those previous batch from Murata, we're going to retire those as historical interest because it will never happen again that we get new paper from Murata-san. So that 30 sheets, I think is 24 to 30 sheets left of her smaller size. We're going to archive those. I think they'll be worth a fortune one day. We're going to archive them. Oh, I forgot. I forgot. Did nobody remind me? Or maybe you did. Before we can carve today. Boop, 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 boop. I'd forgotten about this. Boom. I'd forgotten. We broke the tip just at the end of the previous stream. I'm not the only one who forgot. Okay, but also now, a bit more than that, it's time to pull the blade out a bit. The blade actually now is too short to be functional. If Taranzan was watching this, he'd be thinking, Dave, what are you doing again? We have trimmed and sharpened and trimmed and sharpened, and the blade has now become too short. It's actually too short for my hand. And if I keep going like this, I'll start to get wrist pain. The blade needs to sit at a certain angle for you to carve, and it should be something like this. But because of the blade has been really short, I've been twisting my wrist more, and that would cause wrist pain if I don't fix it. So the tape needs to come undone, the blade needs to come out, and we'll find out actually how much blade we have left. It could be we're getting near the end for this one. No paper is out. There's nobody here today or tomorrow, and the paper out call is going to be blank for quite a lot now. Ishikawa-san's gone for 2 months. So from now until September, here in Asakusa, it's me and Ayumi-san. We're the only printers here. And she will never be here on the weekend. She's a family lady. So paper out on the weekend is not going to be a thing for the next couple of months. We have to unwrap this thing. Look at the green. That's copper. What's the word? Oxidized? It's oxidized copper, is it? I'm not sure. The handle thing I thought was brass, but we're getting green from it as it oxidizes. Maybe it's copper, I don't know. Okay, there we go. We've got it open enough now. Let's have a look at the knife. Surgery. There we go. It's also taped and wedged in. You can see the slot over the years. This handle has been with me a very, very, very long time. It's going to do fine. I'm not about to replace the handle. Maybe this will be my last handle, I guess. I don't know. There's no reason to replace it. It's the right size, the right length. The previous one got eaten by mice at the back end. They liked the sweat, I guess. So the handle's fine, but let's pop out the blade. There's enough length. We can do this. Maybe we're on the last time, but the slot has become a little bit wide. That's why there's tape on the blade. Where's my knife? Let's cut away some of that tape. Yeah, we're on our last one. The knife now, we're really on the last one. If I had lots and lots of extra spare knives, this one now could go out and be changed for a new one, but we don't really have a lot of good steel around. So I'm going to get one more pull and sharpen out of this one. But now you can see also something else here. There's the bevel area up at the top. Used for a pointer. There's a bevel area up at the top where we're beveled. Then there's something going in it, something shiny here, and then there's the original back of the blade. Now I had found when I got this that the blade itself from top to bottom, was too thick. So I used a file and I filed down some of the top. This is the soft steel on the top, and the back side, if I flip it over, is the hard steel, the brittle steel. If the entire blade was made of the brittle steel, it's good for sharpening, but it doesn't have enough strength, and the blade itself is likely to break. So Japanese cutting tools, almost every cutting tool, a plane blade, a knife blade, a kitchen blade, a sword, you name it, it's laminated of high carbon, brittle steel that sharpens very well, and a lower carbon, softer steel that has more physical strength. And you could never sharpen the blade the other way and try and use this face for your cutting. It wouldn't work. But what I need to do now is get my file. Let's use an unwanted corner of the block here, just a sec. It's not going to be either. Nothing like having a workshop and a bench vise and some tools, but let's see, what can I use to hold this thing? Oh, I know, we've got a non-slip. Can I use this? I don't know. Might not work, too spongy. That'll do us. That's enough. We're talking about the thickness now, the top to bottom thickness. Okay, let's get it back in the handle. What I did was I cut off some of the tape, of course about maybe 6 or 7 millimeters of tape. Put it back in the handle. This is definitely the last time. We'll never ever get this thing back in the handle again once it's got even shorter than this. Put the sleeve back on. And now if I've got it right, we've got enough length now that the blade reaches the wood surface without stressing my wrist. Okay. Let's sharpen. Sorry about the extra waste of time. It's not waste of time, but whatever. And now we sharpen. Where am I? Let's find it. Okay, the content today. The content, of course, the main content will be the carving here. We have show and tell. We have a plethora of choices for show and tell. I have 1, 2, 3 unopened packages, 4 unopened packages. Not yet, a bit more. I think we're there. No, maybe no, tiny bit more. That was a big chip. We cut off maybe, we broke off maybe about 1 millimeter of the tip. So we've got to remove a millimeter or so of steel to get back to the point. Okay, we have our shape. There's now a huge burr on the back, steel that has rubbed over. So before I can move to the next stone, we have to remove that burr, which means use the back on the same stone. That's that. And now we flip her over. That was a 400. We flip her over, we're going to use, I think it's a 12, no, it's a 10, a 1000. And these little stones, plates, whatever they're called, they're so versatile, so useful. So much easier than using the old stones, you know. They stay flat. This is the big advantage. These little things just stay so flat. And then another huge advantage for me is that they're so thin, they go on the table, and as I'm rubbing this, my hand is staying on the table surface. So as I'm rubbing, we've talked about this before, if you look at my elbow motion, it's staying like this, moving back and forth, and that keeps the blade flat on the stone in the same position. If I were on a regular sharpening stone up in the air, I'd be rocking like this if I wasn't really good at it. So this really helps the hacker type Dave here. Look at that. Just back and forth, and this motion here is just pumping and staying straight. I struggled so much, decades with sharpening. I tried to use guides. That is looking nice. Now we have another burr on the back from this one. We take off this burr. Okay, we're not finished. There's one more stone to go, but this is the basic shape of the thing now. There's that shine you're seeing. That's the bevel we just created by rubbing on the stone. The back is a hollow ground knife. The dark area you're seeing, we're not touching with the stone. It's ground hollow, so that the only part of the blade that touches the sharpening stone is the outside edges, including, of course, the very tip. Now, we're not finished yet. We have to go one more level of stone, and we've got to put a little back bevel in place. For this, we're using a real stone. It's basically like a marble, hard marble. Very, very hard stone. This is the shiageto, the finishing stone. And for this, I do use a real one, for really only sentimental reasons, I guess. I'm sure there are beautiful artificial stones for this. I bought this from the guy in Asakusa. He's long dead now. Toishiya. So we're polishing that bevel and polishing the backside. The bevel is now polished. The back side, you can see the part that touches, not the dark in the middle. And then we're going to put the relief bevel on the back. Flat, lift it up. 1, 2, maybe 3 strokes will do it. Let's see if we can catch that part on camera. There you are. You can see it. There we are. That shiny strip on the back side now. That's the back bevel. There's a bevel on the front, the main big bevel that goes down. And then the back is well, it's a flat back, but it's not even flat. It's hollow ground. And we have a bevel on the edge. We had it there. Can I catch it again? There it is. The shiny line there at the front edge of there it is. There's your back bevel. Without that, the edge would just be too sharp. If you're going to do like the paper thing, drop a tissue on your blade to cut it or whatever, you wouldn't do that back bevel. But if I didn't do that, the blade would crumble instantly as it hit this hardwood. Actually, I'm going to take one more thing off. I'm going to do one more thing too. The tip is still too sharp. I'm going to take the very point of the tip off. I don't know if we're going to be able to see this. There's another bevel. See it? The shine there. That's yet one more bevel. There's 3 bevels on this blade now. The main one on the front, the back bevel along the edge, and then a tiny bevel at the very tip to knock off the acuteness. Good fun. And then we'll put it in the wood and break it and have to start all over again. Someone's complaining about my hair. Yeah, we're set up. Next time I go to Ome, I know Abe-san, the lady out there. Abe-san is ready to chop, chop, chop. I saw her the other day when we were on the way back from Ome. The other day we met her as I was leaving the house on the way to the station. And she got her notebook out. She dragged out her notebook and said, next Tuesday, next Wednesday, next Thursday. And I'm like, I wasn't quite sure when I'm going out there. Haircut stream, no thank you. God, no thank you. She's a nice lady, just one of my neighbors. She has a little room attached to her house, and she's the local, you know, most of her customers, of course, not maybe everybody. Her customers are the local women, the local grandmas and housewives, whatever. They'll go in there and get their hair cut, you know. I am probably her only male customer. Okay, looking good. We've used up a half an hour already, sorry. Do I use my Nagara anymore? Fly fish don't make trouble. I should have had my Nagara here, but because I've been printing, my Nagara isn't here at my carving bench. My Nagara is up on the 3rd floor. And what I should have done today, as I reached for the finishing stone, I did. I reached for the Nagara. It's not here, but I didn't feel like going all the way up to the 3rd floor, bringing it back to make a little bit of mud. The stone does work without mud, although you're right, yes, I should have used a touch of Nagara. How is my hairdresser's health? She was unwell. My God, did we talk about that on stream? She's back to normal. She had heart surgery. I guess we did talk. She had open heart surgery. The big deal, like slice open, put new valves in or something. She had a big deal. No, she seems to be totally okay. Quite a bit younger than me, so handle that sort of stuff with no big problem. Someone says stay up till 4 a.m. That's me yesterday for the last time in my life, I think. Thank you. Thank you for coming by. The other day I was up till 3 o'clock, Tisha. Never again, never again. You remember the days, you know, like doing an all-nighter or something was no big deal, you know. Now, my God, that killed me the other day. Just devastated me. When it was all over, you know, it was, for me, we signed on at 1 o'clock, did the test broadcast, went live at 1:30, closed at 2:30, chat with the people till like nearly 3 o'clock, and finally get off. And I had said to them in the post-event chat around talking to the other people, and I said, I don't want to be unfriendly, but can I go to bed now? You know, they're like, whatever. The thing we saw, the hosts were in England. The other guy, the art guy, he was from New York. The other lady was from Kyoto. But it was all afternoon in the UK, so. Do Do we know if the guy who dropped by the last day won his tournament? I do not know. But when he came back after the stream the other day, and we talked, and he looked around the shop, and we actually had a real conversation. And I told him, let us know. Either come back in the chat, whatever, and let us know how you're doing. He seemed quite confident that he would be able to place as a reasonable position. He didn't seem to have any expectation of winning it, or he's too polite or too, common sense to say something like that. But I asked him to let us know. Who knows? Tom's talking about that British Museum thing. You did great answering her difficult questions with concise answers. I'm not sure what I should talk about here. Maybe we can talk a little bit about it. I know when I agreed to that thing, it was last December. I know our friend at the British Museum, Capucine, she had sent me an email saying, there's a panel discussion event coming up next summer about Japanese prints and Japanese printmaking. Would you like to take part in it? I'm like, okay, whatever, panel discussion, that sounds fine. Sit around with other, sit around with other experts, sit around with experts on Japanese prints and chat. So I said, sure, no problem. I know I can't get more involved. I'm not about to, give a talk and stuff. And she said, no, it's a panel discussion. So okay, it went along. Then earlier this week, I got an email from the organizer saying, the email said, okay, please, we're getting ready for the event. Please send us your PowerPoint. We're very much looking forward to listening to your talk. And that kind of stunned me a little bit. Send me your PowerPoint. And I had thought, so I went back through the emails and checked, and yeah, the original emails did say panel discussion. So I wrote back, politely to her saying, I'm sorry, there can't be a talk. I'm not going to, I would never have agreed. I don't have time for that, but I'm happy to sit and take part in a discussion about prints. And it seems that there had been miscommunication. What they were expecting, they had asked 3 people to each give a 15-minute talk accompanied by slides. And there we were 2 days out, and there's Dave sitting there with no talk prepared, no idea how to do one, no PowerPoint. I would never do that anyway. So it went back and forth for a little bit, and we're all sort of, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because the other 2 people had done this. They were academic people, and they had done the thing. They'd done the PowerPoint and talk and everything else. So what we agreed was, and the lady who was scheduled to talk first, she was very, very nice about this. She agreed to jump in and act as a host. In other words, that she would do her presentation first as scheduled, and then in David's corner, instead of everybody sitting listening while Dave gave a talk, she and I would have a two-way, 2-member panel discussion, or whatever, talk about something. So what to talk about, and she doesn't really know much about my work or whatever, so I wrote to her and okay, if we're going to do this, maybe we could talk about this and this and this and this. So she created from that content, she created some questions. And when it came time for my part, she very, very happily did the extra job. The camera stayed live on her as well. And she prompted me with some of those questions, which were kind of extensive, way more for 15 minutes, but it's okay. And those of you who saw the event saw that. So that was in replacement of what they had expected to be Dave's talk. And because the other lady, I've forgotten her name, Ryoko-san, because she was willing to jump in and do the extra work, the event was saved. I've never met her before this, but so that's the background. But honestly speaking, after seeing how the thing was structured and put together, it's really not my kind of stuff. Academic presentations clearly are not my forte. And I was the fish out of water there, I guess. I don't know. But she saved the day there very nicely. We get a bit closer, maybe. Let's see. Someone's asking, I would love a rerun of the Twitch channel in European time. A rerun? Well, it's all being saved and preserved. You can watch them whenever you want. You say rerun. You mean you would like me to broadcast live in European time? I know we would like to do that. The problem is it means me doing it late afternoon or evening, and that's just the most chaotic, busy time of day here, really. It is indeed a Halifax Football Club t-shirt donated to me by a Halifax Football Club member. They're called the Shea Men from Halifax, Yorkshire. The VODs are saved on Twitch for 5 weeks. I'm now up to the status where they allow a 5 weeks. So today's stream will be stored on the Twitch channel for about 5 weeks. And even before that 5 weeks is over, it will be replicated on one of our YouTube backup channels by the fans. And I myself don't put these Twitch streams on YouTube, but there are people in the fan base who are doing so. But they're not live, you know, what can you do? So. I'm nervous about breaking this blade. I'm trying to be really, really careful here so I don't break it. Send us your PowerPoint. Yeah. So it's become a noun, has it? I don't know. Again, without being overly sarcastic or whatever here, the way she used that phrase, send us your PowerPoint. So it seems that's a noun. It wasn't send us some photographs or send us some PowerPoint slides. PowerPoint itself seems to be used as a noun, I guess. That was new to me. I'd never seen that before. Oops, not quite visible, am I? Just a minute, sorry. Maybe try to get it. The closer I try and zoom in, the more chance there is of getting off screen. to live in a world where I've never heard the phrase send a PowerPoint. Okay. Am I living in some protected environment? It's my choice, you know. I'm sorry, I'm not part of the academic world. I just could never do that. I'm sorry. So, have I lived in, for all these years, have I lived in a special protected environment? I don't. Well, it didn't strike fear in my heart. When I saw the email, send us your PowerPoint, we're looking forward to hearing your talk. It didn't strike any fear in me because at my position in life now, I'm just going to say, I am sorry, I'm not going to do that. And in fact, there was a bit of back and forth, you know. I know the guy who was doing the technical stuff behind, he really wanted something. He really, really wanted something. And there's another part to it too. We had decided what to do. I said, look, I can just talk or poke me with some questions and I can answer questions and everybody will be happy and we'll be okay, you know. And that was the way, you know, I said, when the other lady, when she decided to jump in and do that, thank you to her again, it became okay. But as we were doing the setup thing, we had a background Zoom thing at the top of the hour. Mic check, yes, hi, light check. He asked me to adjust some lights in the room, which I did. It turned out really well, and I followed his instructions. There's a voiceless person, somebody on their tech crew. His voicing, David, how about this? Can you try turning off that light? And, you know, so whatever. So this is fine. And then we arranged the laptop. He asked me to put my laptop up on a couple of books. I guess it was a question of trying to get the angles right, and I'm on board with this, you know, fine. He's the studio director, he knows what he wants, so I absolutely just follow his instructions, you know, no problem. So I put my laptop, got a couple of books, put it on top of the books, and it looked much better. He knew what he was doing, this guy. So I'm like, thank you. He said, okay, but one problem with this now, there's going to be nowhere to put your notes. And I said, notes? He said, well, yeah, you know, you're going to need your notes for your 15 minutes. And I'm like, notes? I don't have any notes. And okay, this guy wasn't part of the previous discussions about the questions. I guess he said, well, we're going live in 15 minutes. It really is a different world than what I'm used to. It really, really is a different world, you know. So. Did I say voiceless voice? I'm sorry. I meant a voiceless, you know, just, I couldn't see the person just listening to his instructions. But he knew what he was talking about. He made his suggestions and absolutely, you know, improved the setup that I had made, you know. I wouldn't have thought of that, putting the laptop on a couple of books, but this guy knows his stuff. So, yeah. All happening at 1:30 in the morning. I can't do that anymore, you know, not at my age. There's just no way. I'm doing well in life. I'm healthy. I'm happy, you know, going through well. But Huntley, this might sound a bit silly or old or whatever, but Huntley, at my age now, it's got to be the same thing, the same time each day, you know, the regularity thing. Going to bed at the same time. Silly things that you go to the bathroom at the same time. You sort of eat similar food. It really, really, really makes a big difference, you know. The idea that I would want to do different stuff or have adventures or be in different places, just no thank you. Just the same stuff every day, the regularity of the routine, it's so much better. Body and everything, you know. So even something as simple as that, staying up late. I'm normally in bed during the summer at 9:30 or 10, but to stay up till whatever it was after 3 has cracked me up. Just I'm nowhere near back to normal. I guess it's age, you know. Okay, we were, before I get off track too much, we were talking about the show and tell stuff. There's an interesting show and tell item today. You will enjoy it very much, I think. But also before we actually do the show and tell thing, opening a package, there were requests. There was a request in the previous stream, one of the previous streams, and a request also came by email. The print that we opened the other day from Kubota-san, the Nihonga style, the bamboo fence print that we opened up. It was in a frame, very, very tightly in a frame. I can report that it was actually quite easy to get out. I didn't have to even destroy the frame. The frame is now sitting outside the front door waiting for someone to pick it up and take it away. And the print came out very, very safely. It wasn't stuck in with masking tape or something stupid. It was very, very nicely presented. And the print itself is in perfect condition. Absolutely perfect. I have it here beside the desk. And as in, going at that request, let's have a look at it. So we'll look at it again today for a few minutes in its live form without the glass in the way. A beautiful, beautiful print, and I'm very, very glad I got it. It's very common when we buy prints here in frames that have been framed in Japan back in the 1950s or 60s or 70s, that era, or even into the 80s and stuff. It's very common that when we open the frames, we find inside a mess of things like sellotape, masking tape, glue. It's a mess. There was no culture of archival or acid-free or whatever. I think actually maybe even in other countries, take America as an example, whatever. If you've got a wood-bought print that was bought in Japan in the 1960s or 70s, taken over to the US, framed and stuck on a wall, it's dead meat now. Because not only has it been as exposed to light for all those times, it too was probably stuck in with sellotape before the era of taking care of these things. And Japan, hontoni, is specifically bad for that. So lots of the stuff that we open really needs repair or damage. Vivid's asking, do you think, let's talk about that when we get the print. The answer is yes, absolutely. The answer is yes. It's top to bottom opaque, but yes, let's wait till we get to the print. The wood today is boxwood. We usually use cherry. You can see, you can tell by this yellow smooth color, very, very, only traces of wood grain. You can see here there's some very, very light traces of grain. The wood itself just shows pure yellow. This is boxwood. And we're using it because we don't have cherry that's hard enough to print this stuff. These patterns we're doing here, they're not so tiny that they would really require boxwood if I had good stable cherry. But we don't have that, so we've switched up to plan B, doing this on boxwood. And it's going to cost us printing because this pattern is half of a block. This is, I think this is blue, and down below on the print there's another blue area, but we've used cherry for that. So the printer is not going to be too happy about this. Well, it's going to be me, is going to have to print the blue twice because it's on different blocks. But the upside is each one will print with a different kind of baron and perhaps with the paper at a slightly different moisture level. It'll be easier to do the two parts, but it will take literally twice as long. Can't be helped. This is the Dreams of Future Past print number 8. It'll be issued probably in September. And print number 9, it's being carved as we speak. Taran-san is working on number 9. The image has come through. It had some quirky issues. We're not still quite sure how to print some of it. But number 9 is in and being carved by Taran-san. That'll be the print issued in October. I can't believe we've come so far through this series already. My God, it sounds like we just started. Yeah, question again about the lines. There's two things mixed together on this block. We are keeping only the darker lines. The grayer lines here are key block. They are already carved on the key block. We are keeping these darker black lines. The reason the grayer lines are here is I needed to have them present to get things lined up properly. But I'm sorry for the confusion. What's he doing? Some lines stay, some lines go. This is one of the color blocks for patterns on the kite. It's a kite flying out in space. A space kite. Taking this very slowly here today because I really do not want to break this knife, and I'll as we saw, the knife is pretty much at the end of its life, and I haven't prepared the next one yet. I don't quite know where my stock is. It's been so long since I've done much carving. So one of the things I've got to do today before we start the next stream is I've got to locate my next blade. I'm not sure, they might be in Ome. I don't really know where they are. So in case it's confusing, there we are. We're keeping the long, thin black lines. And the stuff in between is going to be coming up. And we'll be keeping this. How's our time? 8:56. Okay, getting closer. We will have, I guess, at 9:07 or something, Sadako probably is going to be walking in the door if her trains were on time. And then 9:15 or so, we'll do show and tell. Show and tell, we have two things to show again, the Kubota-san print we got the other day, and then we got a fun one to open up. And this may be, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is maybe a brand new type of print for show and tell, something we perhaps have never seen before. I'm not quite sure on that. You guys will soon let me know if it's something of a type we've seen before, but I remember nothing like this. In fact, we're going to have a little bit of trouble because it's kind of big. The print we're going to look at, it also is printed by one of the printers who I know. This one is clearly past tense because the man who printed the one we're going to see in show and tell today, he's passed away quite a long time ago. Maybe, I don't know exactly when, but 10, 15 years ago he would have died. He's Nakajo-san. I don't know his first name, Nakajo-san. He was one of the most respected printers in the community during the years when I first came here. He really, I bothered him sometimes because I asked him too many questions, and he was the old school guy where you don't ask questions, you just watch, and you don't answer questions, you just let them figure it out for themselves. But he, although that's the way he grew up himself, he knew that Dave was in a situation where he had no chance to watch printers. I worked all in a workshop by myself, whereas he, Nakajo-san, grew up in a workshop surrounded by older men. So although he himself really believed in that old system, don't tell him anything. Let him figure it out. The smart ones will figure it out. The dumb ones will quit. Let him figure it out. Not in a hostile way, but in a sort of a strict, beneficial way, you know. People have to figure stuff out. If you tell them, they won't remember it. If they figure it out for themselves, they will internalize it. So I said the paradox is, although he lived and breathed that philosophy, he knew that I wasn't able to do it that way because I was isolated. So there's one occasion specifically, I had visited him, cold call, knock on the door. He's like, "Oh, it's you again. Come on in. What do you want? I'm busy." He was gruff, you know. He was never kind and friendly like Kubota. Kubota-san is always warm and whatever. He would never give off any negative stuff, whatever. Nakajo-san was more gruff. Absolutely. But he did deliver. He ended up answering questions. I knew these things, and you know, do I dare bother him again? Oh my God, what should I do? But I need this information, you know. My God, when men like that die, they take with them so much. It's like a vast library burns down and disappears every time one of those men dies. But the print we're going to open today on Show and Tell was printed by Nakajo-san. It was carved by Ogura Hanbei, and quite a combination, absolute combination. Two top guns, absolute top guns at the top of their field. We shall not see their like again. Maybe. Who knows? the funny thing is, the print that I'm going to open, it's rare. I never saw it before. I never heard of it. I didn't know it existed till it came up. And yet I have here 2 of them. There's 2 boxes here, side by side. Not the same print. Print number 1 and another print from the same publishing company made by the same 2 guys. So after decades of never seeing this, in the same week, boom, boom, 2 of them pop up. I grabbed them, absolutely grabbed them. We're out here building a library. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we do what we're doing. You know, Hontoni in real life, I like my peaceful, private, quiet life, the one I had for all those years in Ome, just quietly working. But it became clear we had to do it this way. You know, we've got to show what we're doing. You know, I'm not teaching people here how to do this, but make the information available. Absolutely. Yeah, the one Shoji screen. What was the guy's name? I've forgotten his name. The guy who wrote the book you're talking about here, Happy Ukes. I've lost his name. I can't remember. But yeah, it's the approach. It's called, I know, what is it called? Well, I know, just literally you have to steal the technique. I know, Nusuma. It's Gijutsu Nusuma, not Gijutsu. I know, what's the phrase? Takumi o Nusuma. Steal the techniques. You know. And it makes sense, absolute sense, provided there's an environment where the information is there. Of course, it only works when you're surrounded by people who are doing the job and doing it well. Then you watch them, and you, of course, you want to be able to do it, you know. All the guys who have chatted with me, Kubota-san, Seki-san, Nakajo-san, they all told those same stories. Nobody told me anything. They gave me a bench on the first day. There's a pile of paper. Get it done by 6 o'clock. They all sort of tell the same kind of story. How much is exaggerated over the years, I don't know. But the point is there. Absolutely. They were given the bare minimum of instruction and turned out to be glorious craftsmen. But this is, you know, what's the word? It's survivor's bias. Because I'm meeting these men, Seki-san, Nakajo-san, Kubota-san. These are the men who survived that environment and thrived in that environment. Other men who didn't, I'm not meeting them because they were gone long, long, long ago. Gone meaning they didn't make it, they didn't cut it, they quit, they ran away, they wanted to do something else. So it's very much survivor's bias. It's weeding out the people who are not gonna be able to be good at this. Taran-san and I have talked about this, you know, as far as how we should approach the training of people coming in here to be, for example, printers. Both Taran-san and I would like to do it in a way that is sort of not friendly to people. Don't help them too much. If we help them too much, they just get weak. If we have a friendly, yasashi, oh, let's all do this happily together, they get weak. But is it possible in 2025 to have a workshop environment where you're expecting people to cut it on their own? Is it possible? I don't know. I sort of touched on that in the very last comment in that British Museum talk the other day. She should have wrapped it up. Our timer showed 30 seconds to go, and she should have wrapped it up, but she didn't. She threw me a question, a complicated question, which took her 10 seconds to ask. The clock was showing like 35 seconds left. And she hesitated, and she should have wrapped it up. Thank you, everybody, and taken 30 seconds to say that, but she didn't. She started a long question, took about 10 seconds, and by the time the question came to me, the clock is showing 25 seconds left. Like, whatever, 25, 26, I forget the exact number. And I'm like, thanks, lady, whatever. And that's when I talked about the crazy. You know, she'd asked me something about, can you find people to do this job, whatever. And I hadn't really wanted to do this when speaking to an overseas audience because I knew what would happen. And I said something like, you know, you have to be crazy to work here, or I forget what I said. But are there other people out there who are crazy enough to think that they can join us? And of course, people saw that. And during the night, it came into Aino-san's mailbox. The next morning, Aino-san gets all these mails. I saw Dave's question, British Museum. I'm crazy. I'm happy to do this. おはようございます。あ、あれ、着払いじゃないですから。はい、どうも。Thank you. This is the mailman. Toshio Odate. Thank you for reminding me. That's the guy's name. Yes, yes, yes. But when I was saying that, answering that last question, I had no time to do the proviso, the rider. We can't get a visa, you know, all that stuff. It's no good how crazy you are if you're in another country, because Japan is not crazy. Japan doesn't want foreigners here, you know. How's our time? 9:06. Looking good, looking good. Cut that a bit too thin, I think. Can you hear in the background the sound of the air conditioner? I put it on. Normally I'd sit here by myself without the air conditioner on. When the staff comes ready to open the shop, they put the thing on. But this morning out there, it is hot. Hot, hot. It's going to be another stinker out there today. And Sadako's coming. She walks from the station. So I thought what we'll do today is I put the cooler up. I put the air conditioner on before the stream started so that she can walk into a fairly cool shop here. No benefit for myself at all, of course. I don't need this stuff. You know, absolutely, I don't care. Oh, here we are. Right on time.
Oh, how cool and nice.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There's no
order.
Well, there is and there isn't. There was an overnight order, but the guy didn't clear payment, so it didn't show up on the email here. But we do have to pull the print away. So come and say hello. Come and say hello.
Okay. Okay, I'm coming. I will. Wait a few seconds.
Is there room? Oh, sorry, push that back because then he's just. Hello, hello, hello.
Morning.
Hi. Pink today, pink and white. So it's crazy out there, Sho. Stinky hot.
Stinky
Girl. I think everywhere people are reporting from Europe and America, especially. It's hot everywhere.
France, Italy.
Everywhere. So good. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Good morning. Ohio's Japanese, whatever. So.
And I'm going to put our lunch into the fridge.
Upstairs. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh,
so sorry. Very sorry.
Earthquake. Somebody from Finland says it's cool there.
Let's fly to Finland.
So I'll go to Finland. So yeah, because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, right? What time is it in Finland? 1 o'clock in the morning or something? Someone says, I'm sitting in a cardigan. Wait a minute. Finland, North, okay. Because, I mean, we're not talking Australia here, upside down, right? Cold and rainy in Norway. Okay, just the Scandinavians have got it lucky today. Lucky or not, or whatever. Finland has been nice and cool all summer so far. Is that a bug or a feature? I don't know what's normal there. I'm sorry. Whatever, I know. Most of our communication, of course, is with people in the temperate zone in the northern hemisphere. You know, the people we see in the shop. They're from America, Canada, England, Germany, France, you know, Italy, whatever, across this zone. So most of the people we see most of the time are in that same zone, which is now super, super hot. Okay, tell you what, let's do this. Let's on a roll. I've got two things to show for show and tell. It's now 9:11. It's a little bit earlier than 9:15, but let's do this properly. We're not quite finished that block. Maybe it'll appear here on another stream. I don't know. My work for future streams here now for the next couple of months, the next few weeks, is going to be printing. This might be the last carving you'll see for a while, or maybe you'll see me finish this off on Monday or something. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Let's zoom out. Okay, step one for our show and tell this morning, step one, is let's take another look, just a quick peek at that print we got by Kubota-san. Because now that we can see it without the frame, let me get rid of the flask. Oosh. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Show and tell?
Yeah. Sure. I got the Kubota print out of the package. It came out of the frame really, really easily. It was
able to pull it out.
Yeah, it was a professionally prepared frame. It's first, and it was all glued at the back. So I thought it was going to be big trouble because I had to sort of destroy it. I had to take the unglue. But once I got inside, the picture itself, the print itself, had no tape. It was put into pocket corners. So the print itself was not touched. And it's beautiful, beautiful paper. It's clearly Iwano Hosho. You stay there. The paper is Iwano Hosho, beautifully clean. I can't see a speck of chiri anywhere in the outside area. Inside there may be some hidden, I don't know. The back side, beautifully smooth. The sizing must have been done properly. This is a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. The thing is, though, there's no name on it, there's no mark. We know it's by Kubota because the documentation that came with the frame, stuck on the back of the frame, was documentation published by the Adachi Zaidan, and it had the carver's name, Nimi-san, and the printer's name, Kubota-san. But there's nothing on the sheet itself. So I had to rip the back of the frame apart, cut off and soak and pull that label off, and I will keep that with the print. But I'm really sad, really, really saddened that they don't do that. You know, we try and put our people's names physically on the sheet of paper itself. I'm so sad that they didn't do that. Let's zoom in a bit. We've seen the print itself, but here you are, raw, without any glass in the way. And the depth, just, I mean, come on, look at this. Vivid KP was asking about the pigments. We're looking almost totally at pigments that have opacity. There will be white powder mixed in with all of these pigments. This is not ukiyo-e. The white you're seeing is white pigment. Even this green, these greens have white mixed in. And over here on the white flower, definitely you can see the paper color. There you are. There's your natural paper white. This is printed white. And then a light green opaque on top of that. And they've got some kind of little sparkle. I don't know what on earth that's doing there. There's a little sparkly. Can I get the... Yeah, I don't know why they would do that. A little bit of bling. Do some of those flowers have a sparkle to them in real life?
No.
I don't know.
Kikyo.
What kind of flowers are these?
Kikyo in Japanese.
In English, this is what? It's not morning glory, no? Asagao? Janai?
And early autumn and midsummer.
Okay. Okay, somebody's talking about this. You couldn't find the thing online. Yes, and remember the documentation, we talked about this the other day. very frequently we get prints like this that are replicas of paintings. This one, the label showed original Mokuhankan. So the designer of this created it for this specific project. Someone's saying, just to showcase Kubota-san's skills. No, it would have been commissioned by the artist designer and the Adachi workshop. Who was going to make it would have been nothing to do with that. Adachi ended up assigning it to those two men. Someone says bellflower, Sadako.
Bellflowers.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there we are. Very, very nice print. This is going into our collection, absolutely. For now, it's going to sit in this plastic file. It's going to go safely into my files upstairs, combined with that documentation ripped off the back of the frame. Okay, maybe, let's see, this next one. What we're going to open, it'll slide down there. Okay, can you pass me the left hand of those two boxes, please? Yes. Thank you. This is so much fun. I didn't know this existed. She's gone to, do I have a knife? I had a knife here already this morning. What have I done with it? Here it is. I got it. I found my knife the other day. Thank you. These came up on, this is stuff from Yahoo Auction last week. And there were two of them, not the same print, but two of the same concept. A print made by, carved by Ogura Hanbei, printed by Nakajo-san on designs from Ito Shinsui. I'm trying to find the opening. Where is it? What's that clip? Tell you what, let me just, is there cardboard there? Okay, you just got, I can slice down. Thank you. Oh, it's not cardboard, it was paper. Ooh, had to be careful there. We have a woodblock print mounted as a scroll. So if you're counting layers, that was packaging layers. This is the product. This is not a packaging layer. This is how Japanese scrolls are typically gone. If you're a rich person, you've got your kura storehouse, you have a shelf, and you have all your scrolls in there, and they're in racks. And on the end of the rack, you've got your identification of what it is. And at the other end, there's a finger push. Yep, there it is, the finger push to pop it out of the package. So we've got this standard scroll box. Inside will be a Polonia box. Sadako standing by to thank you. And as usual, the Polonia box has written on top of it the name here. And this is Ito Shinsui Shitsu Fude desho? Ito Shinsui Shitsu. And this will be the title of the print. 3,000 years. 3,000 years old. I don't know. I don't know. When would this be made? I don't know. Nimi-san and Nakajo-san, they were big names. Not Nimi-san. Ogura-san and Nakajo-san, big names through the 70s, 80s. Look at this. We have... Oh, this must be to try and keep it... No.
Michitose.
Michitose. Is this to keep it dry? We've got some, it looks like silica gel inside for keeping worms away, keeping the bugs away.
Keeping bugs away.
Keeping the bugs away. Ne, kaori, something insect smelling. Keep the bugs away. Okay, can we pass this over to my assistant again, please? Thank you. It's a scroll, of course, it's a scroll. And they must have, I myself have done years ago, I did a woodblock print and had it mounted as a scroll. Now normally the paper we use for making rich woodblock prints is too thick to roll up this tightly. we can take a woodblock print. That one I just showed you, the Kubota one. We couldn't roll it this tightly. It'll crease like crazy. You could sort of roll it maybe about this much. So when I made my own scroll print 25 years or so, I made it on normal Iwano paper, but I had asked Iwano-san, when you're making this paper, please keep in mind, I want to thin it down after printing. We're going to mount it as a scroll. So what he did, he got the washi, and instead of just dipping 20 times and rocking to give a sheet of paper, he must have done something like, he dipped 5 or 6 times, then did something that I don't know. Paused, or did some motion, or put some fluid in or something, and then he dipped again the other 10 times. So the piece of paper, when I got it, looked like a normal piece of paper. I made a woodblock print with it, but when it came time to mount it, I could find inside the print, tease it open, and it separated into front side and back side. And they must have done the same for this. To make a print this rich, they would have had to use a thick washi, but there's no way it would roll up. Okay, what I'm going to do, there's no way to show it here, so I'm going to roll this scroll down as we're rolling it open. And somewhere we're going to get to a print. Here we come. Here we come. Look at this. Look at this. There is our print, top to bottom. Ito Shinsui, the title then, Suns and 3,000 generations, 3,000 years. This is a mirror, the back side of a mirror.
3000歳ってことだね。
ほうほうほうほうほう。
あ、3000年に一度花を咲かせ、実をつける桃。あ、長寿を願っているんだ。
Now this is not one of those deals where nobody else bid for it and only David bid and I got it for $10. That didn't happen. There were 26 bids on this auction. Wow. 26 bids. It went up and up and up and up and up like $1 at a time. The final price, I had to pay for this thing.
Only?
The final price was 26 bids, 5,500 yen.
Wow.
Which is how much in real money? They're joking, but I use that. No, they were really pulling me down. I used that expression the other day, real money, and I got really criticized for it. And there were 2 of them that same night. Not the same print, but the same concept. Scroll prints of Ito Shinsui, printed by Nakajo-san. There's one more. We'll save it for another day. But look at this. Look at this. Look at this. These guys know what they're doing. Paper this big, blocks this big.
Eyelash.
And when you're printing something like this, I mean, I'm speaking like I know all this stuff, how to do this, but no, I've seen them do it and I know myself. I've done my own scroll print. When you're printing this, there's tons of kimono colors. Let's see, I'll just maybe move the camera. Let's move out for just a minute. There's tons of kimono colors and they are wide and sort of relatively easy to print, but the capability, the possibility of making mistakes is there. So what you don't do, Dave originally thought what I would do is I would save the difficult part for the last. Print all the other stuff first, kimono, whatever. Then I'm full of practice, now print the face. And that's not the way to do it, because the tiny little difference in printing the eye, you've spoiled it, and all your work on the kimono and everything else is wasted. So the way you do this, you get your block set ready, you do this, and you do the most difficult part first. The key block would go on, then the white. This is not white paper, this is white makeup. This is printed for sure. And then the lips and the eyes and the hair. And when you've got that done, it looks crazy. It's a finished head surrounded by nothing. It looks kind of ghostly and crazy. When you've got that done, you cull your bad ones, use them for testing, and you go ahead and print the other solid colors. Transparent, look at this, they've done a nice, you're probably too close, but when you see it from a distance, if you stand back, this tortoise shell, it looks transparent. The hair is close behind it and it gets fading away. it's not translucent. This is just a piece of paper with pigment rubbed on it. But in real life, her hair ornament would be, what would it be? Tortoiseshell or something, which would be semi-transparent, translucent. And we can see that in the print.
Tiny. Wait bone.
What are you talking about? What are you?
No, here. To keep the shape. The shape of the hair.
Wait. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about this object here?
Yes.
It's pink.
Yes, wait bone.
Why is it pink?
I don't
I mean, that's what this is. This is a thing.
Another kind.
This is, yeah,
The wait
we can
bone.
see them. And this yes, it's curved. It goes all the way up here, around here, and it keeps her hair in a certain shape.
Yes.
And you think that's what this is?
I
I would have thought that's part of her ear because it's pink. I can't argue, Sadako, I don't know.
Yeah.
But surely if it was a hair supporter, it would be,
yeah, this is wait bone.
yeah, this is a hair supporter.
I want that's too pink.
Okay, I don't know. I'd keep my options open on that. I don't think it would be pink if it was a hairpiece.
The same color as her underwear.
We're getting asking for zooming. Yes. Let's try and zoom in here. What do you think about this lady? Do you think she looks friendly? She looks happy? She looks kind of tired, I think. I don't know. Her eyelids look a bit, a bit world weary.
ぼーっとしてる感じ。
Yeah, I'm not so sure. There's the mirror here. She's looking away from the mirror. And I think maybe there's a backstory that's supposed to be part of this because the title is a little bit inscrutable. The title is what? 3,000. It literally, I am Nanaju Sansai. David is 73, 73 Sai. So the kanji would be 73 Sai, Nanaju Sansai. The kanji for the title of this is 3,000 Sai, as in 3,000 years old. Now, she's not 3,000 years old. There's an allusion or a reference or a story that I don't recognize. I'm sorry.
She might be.
I don't think she's 3,000 years old. So. And I don't know, the view, you know, and to carve this and to print this and to catch the nuance of her emotion. This isn't perfect, you know. Can I quibble a little bit? Like this here, there's a little bit of a black dot. That should have been carved a tiny bit deeper there. I am not going to muck with this. I'm not going to try and take it off. There's a little bit of a defect there. But give me a break. Fabulous. I can also, if I want to be a little bit picky, I don't know. Can we do this? No, can we do this? Let's look a little bit. There's this kind of pattern. I forget what it's called. I know the shibori. Yes, but look at this. This really doesn't look all that neat. There's places here. There should be a one dot perfect inside each of the squares. They're not done in neat rows. They're sort of not done nicely. Look at the blurriness here. And we've had some prints, Goyo prints, where these are mathematically perfectly exactly carved, and this is quite rougher. Is that intentional? When we know guys of this level, Ogura-san could carve, quote, better, unquote, than this.
Yeah, this area too.
Yeah, my guess is it's intentional, but it's a little bit iffy. Whenever you're looking at something that's not done very well and saying, is that intentional? That's kind of a bit of an iffy thing to say. But when the rest of the print is done so magnificently, it makes me think that this is what the publisher called for. You know?
Do they use opaque white?
Oh, of course, her face, absolutely. This is go from straight,
But
absolutely.
this white.
Again, one by one, I really don't know without sort of digging it in. This blue, I could believe that there's opaque pigments in there. There's not too much, otherwise it would cover up it would show a fogginess on the black lines, you know. There's some bling, there's some metallic pigments used here in a couple of places. Wonderful, wonderful print. I'm so happy to have this. The fact that I bought it for like $30 or something is just whatever. The story just keeps going on and on and on. So as I said, we got 2 of these this night. I think it was last Saturday that I won a bunch of these auctions. This was in there. So in another stream coming up next week, I will be able to show you one more of these things. I'm also curious about the carvers and printers names. I don't see them here. There must be a label somewhere, perhaps on the back of the scroll, perhaps on the box, that has this information. Is it?
堀市小倉半兵衛、
はい。
摺市中条。
Nakajo. So, how do you pronounce his first name? Nakajo-san. I never knew how to pronounce. I never used. Can I see the? Can we show the people the?
はいはい。
Okay, I hadn't seen it when we opened it up, but the top of the scroll, which had the title, inside it, it had this other information. And as she said,
条は
Horishi Ogura Hanbei Surishi Nakajo, and I don't know how to pronounce his name.
こうだ。条はこっちか。
Yeah, I don't know. And both of these guys, what we have here at the top, this is an award they were given. These guys were both given a number of different awards. Tokyo Prefecture, a Master Craftsman for Tokyo, or National Award for Preservation of Crafts. So both these guys had all this kind of stuff. These are from the Bunkacho. These are an award, Horishi Ogura Hanbei. And this looks like, this is interesting. Sadako, look at this. This looks like he signed it himself because the signature is different. Later. Look, it looks like they've signed these themselves with a hanko. The writing is not, this is not an outside hired calligrapher to put the writing in. Ogura-san must have signed this, and Nakajo-san must have signed this. And they've put their seals on. Look at this. Woo.
講師ですね。
Yeah, I don't know. Numabe-san would know. He was his apprentice, but... Okay, thank you very much. It's time for me to move on now and get our shop open. Next stream will be Monday morning. Is there something in the back here? Was she doing? Just say goodbye. Okay, thank you. All right. So, next stream will be Monday morning. It could be related to printing now for the DF7 print, or it could be I'll still be fooling around with this block here, finishing off this block. One of those two things. It won't be sizing because the paper sizing is all done for the next couple of weeks. Let's put up the outside camera to close off. Hey, I've had fun today. We actually got some work done as well, and we saw a couple of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful prints. Thank you very much. Okay, let's just get going with the work. Signing off. See you next time. 3, 2, 1. Bye for now.